by just moving my hands over her body. I'm going to get you to put your hands to your side. And also I'm going to get you to allow yourself to breathe, exhale out of your mouth. And just allowing whatever arises in the body. If the body starts to have energy or wants to move, allow it. And by allow it, what I'm saying is, rather than sit there and just look and feel that there's something happening, like if your pelvis has got energy in it, break your pelvis a little bit. The energy will take over and do the rest for you. And also allowing whatever sounds. One of the most beautiful gifts that a woman could ever give a man in her life is her sounds of ecstasy. And yet on this planet, we have shut our women down so hard until most of them are afraid to even hear their own sounds. So if the woman truly understands and gives her sounds, it is through her sounds that she teaches the man how to make love to her. A man can actually listen to her sounds, and his body will take that information in and actually respond back to her according to what her body is asking for through her sounds. So the moment that the woman stops her sounds, she actually is making the man hunt for her in the dark without any input to assist him in where to find her. So I'm just going to sort of like the sun, I'm going to shine on her. I'm getting ready just to connect her head back to her heart. Because the woman's head tends to separate from the heart and go on its own journey by itself, not knowing that the heart is supposed to be leading the head. The head doesn't know where it's going unless it's getting direction from the heart. If a man had never had ejaculation in his penis, everybody would think something was wrong. But for a woman to go her whole life and never know what it's like to have orgasm in her breast, nobody even asked the question. But that's her positive pole. So she's capable of having very powerful multiple orgasms just in her breast, having nothing to do with her vagina. And her breasts contract just like a man's penis does. This, in a lot of ways, opens the woman more than sex. But this also prepares her to want to have sex. It allows her body to naturally open the way that it opens. Now I'm getting ready to create a wave in her from her vagina all the way to the medulla in the back of her neck. They call me Shantam Nitayama.
Got you. Now we have something very interesting going on. Of course, you're a New Covenant member.
Yes.
And you travel around the world doing or performing magnificent feats. Something that to you is very simple.
Yes.
And something to the laity in this world comes off as very paradoxical and unconventional. And in fact, many people are not believers, which we don't want them to believe. We want them to become knowers of your art and craft and science. So we're going to go right into it. My brother has been able to give women orgasms without touching them. And not just that, he has also been able to tap into the part of a woman's body found in the throat, which he'll explain, in which case he's able to help her establish an orgasmic experience beyond just the vaginal orifice, but also from the throat, and in turn having her super elated from the experience. And I want him to expound on this, because not only is he not touching the women, he's been able to have them engage in the orgasmic experience for more than one part of their body. And it's very significant, that particular part of the body, because that has not been taught much in our culture, world over for the most part, but particularly here in the West, that part is deactivated. And we want to know, what is the significance of a woman engaging in the orgasmic experience from this particular chakra round? What does it do? Why are you doing it? How does it happen? How does it work? We just got questions. Every man out there and every woman out there should have these questions. How and why? We want to know. And we're bringing them out on the 17th, okay, of March, which is a Sunday. Of course, I'm going to be doing a polygyny demonstration, and it's going to entail or encapsulate the economic and social principles of polygyny. As you know, I have 4 wives, and thanks to Brother Nitayama, I'm not going to be losing them anytime soon with these principles, so you know I know the secret. And then we're going to rehash and reveal some of these things, unveil these secrets. So I want to go straight into that. I know I asked a number of questions. The how and the why is the most important. Of course, he's going to expound on it that day on the 17th. But we want to know the how and the why. How are you able to not touch the female? What's taking place? And what is going on with this orgasmic experience as it relates to something outside of the vagina?
Okay.
How does that work?
Oh, well, first of all, as far as the how that is done, we always talk about the fact here on the planet that we are one. But for the most part, we're only giving lip service to being one. We very rarely can go inside, tap in, and actually have the experience of being one, to the point that you're able to start a vibration or energy in motion inside of yourself and actually affect the things around you, including women. Women is just one of the things. I also can just reach out and touch a plant in my hand and know what part of the body that plant would affect if I took it internally. Because the energy is actually transmitted to me immediately. So the same thing with a woman. I can be sitting across the room, across the world. Really, time and space mean absolutely nothing in the world I live in. Well, absolutely nothing. So if I'm in one part of the world, a woman's in another part of the world, I can look at her and tell what part of her body that she's got jammed up.
Wow.
I ain't even in the same room.
Wow.
So at that point,
I may even start to energetically start to interact with her in another country through Skype or whatever other means.
This guy is crazy, man.
And start to open that part of her body to the point that she starts having releases, maybe emotion releases, maybe crying, maybe go immediately into orgasm in another part of the world, let alone in the same room. And the emphasis that I'm wanting to make here is that there's no such thing as time and space. We jam ourselves up in the belief that if I'm over here and she's over here, that nothing can happen. Unreal. Has nothing to do with reality. But I have to know it. I have to know it in here. I have to actually communicate with the powers that be, with the forces that are all around. I gotta talk to them like they'll do what I tell them.
That's right. I hear you.
You know, I gotta say, okay, I'm getting ready to bring you to orgasm from wherever I'm at. I will accept nothing other than that happening. Because if I'm in alignment with the forces, then the forces are here to do my bidding. They're always waiting to be acted upon. They're screaming, somebody use me. So I said, cool, if nobody else will use you, I'll use you.
Alright, this is getting kind of intense. We need
as
to ask
far as
the
the
question.
forces.
I got you. What if someone asks, what are these forces you make mention of, or who, or what? Or when, you know, we very objective people. We're not as subjective as we should be. So, on the object scale, what are these forces, if that's a practical question?
Say for instance, if I took my hands like this and just started, rubbed them together and then started bouncing back and forth. After a few moments, you will feel this hand pushing against this hand as if it's something, resistance going on, like a magnet, two magnets repelling one another.
Understood.
So once you tap into that energy, I could put my hand over a woman and start bouncing down on her, and at a certain point, I would feel where her energy is pushing back against me. The moment I feel where her energy is pushing back against me, then I can start to move her energy with my hand.
So is that what I'm seeing on the video?
That's what you're seeing on the video.
I see you standing over the table.
Yeah.
Old girl laid down on the table, and it almost seems like you're touching her the way her body is looking.
Right.
But you're not touching her.
No.
But I see the impact.
She is responding to what I'm doing over her. She feels it as if I was.
My question is, how you have a straight face when they start wigging out and start moving all uncomfortable? And how you keep a straight face in the middle of all of that? Those are my type. It's almost like a cross between the exorcism and the orgasm.
Yeah, it is.
It seems like it's way more powerful than a conventional orgasm.
Yeah, it is.
It seems so much more intense.
Because of the fact that the woman tends to experience it all over her body.
Wow.
Rather than just in the vagina. So we always focus on the vagina. One of the major misconceptions is that the woman works like the man. She doesn't. She works differently.
That's right.
So this is her positive pole up here and up to her mouth, the back of her throat, and her breast. So if I was to overlay your two testicles on her breast, then up through here to the back of her mouth will be the shaft of your penis.
Wow.
So she's positive up here. You're positive in your genitals. So the man and the woman are the reverse of one another, as above, so below. So when you come together as a man and a woman and you embrace, your negative pole is on her positive pole, and her negative pole is on your positive pole at your genitals.
Gotcha.
That's what creates the circuit that allows her to share some of her magnetism with you, and you sharing her with her your electricity. So then once you disengage from one another, you come away electromagnetic from what you picked up from her, and she comes away magnetic electric. So both of you end up exchanging different the different polarities. So now both of you are carrying something you weren't carrying before.
That's right.
This also is what helps discharge all the psychic toxicity that you accumulate just from being in this insane world.
Wow.
So that's one of the major purposes of sex that nobody even acknowledges. This is the reason why it's so detrimental for a woman, say, to neglect her sexuality. She becomes extremely neurotic.
That's right.
They used to call it hysteria. And they used to go to the doctor, and the doctor would take some kind of dildo or some kind of massager out and massage her until she had an orgasm just to get over this hysteria.
Wow. I hope people picking this up, man.
Because the woman, especially early on in her life, she needs to allow that energy to move. That's part of her being able to express herself.
That's right.
So if she is denied that, she starts wigging out.
So in the hood, we call it being backed up.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
same.
Could knock a dude out.
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
You don't need no woman knocking out
And
no
plus,
dudes,
and plus, in the community, it disturbs all the men.
That's right.
If there's a bunch of women running around that are jammed up like that.
Oh yeah, I bear witness. I'm seeing it.
Yeah, you know, the woman, she don't even have any idea that she's impacting everybody.
That's right.
But she's impacting everybody in the room. She even it even
right.
sometimes can impact other women.
That's right.
The fact that she's backed up like that. So when we really take a look at it as far as the community and keeping the community healthy, this is the reason why it's so important that the men in the community realize what is your role in the community. Why are you in the community and then you got 50 or 100 women walking around backed up? What
destroy the planet. It's part of that 2012 conspiracy they talk about.
Yeah. So that's a big part of it.
Question.
Yeah.
The part of the throat, are you saying that there's a similitude amongst the woman's anatomy as it relates to the vaginal orifice and the throat? Is there anything in the throat?
The throat, the tissue in the larynx and the throat is identical to the tissue in the vagina. So when a woman, most women on the planet are very afraid to be in their heart and are very afraid to move the energy in their throat. So this...
I had a dirty joke. Wow, I'm going to pass. Go ahead.
Yeah. A lot of the women have been suppressed.
That's right.
You know? So, okay, we living in these four walls that they be putting up, and most of them are apartments. So the woman's afraid to allow her sounds even when she's having sex.
That's true.
She's stifling it. And the dudes, a lot of them, hey, slow down, cool down, don't be making all that noise, you get me put out of my apartment.
You're sneaking around and
so
shit. That's right.
She's got to be.
I bear witness.
She's got to be suppressed in the throat.
Wow, that's a deep point.
But this is her place of expression. So you're basically shutting her down overall.
That's probably why
without
she out later.
Exactly. So part of it is like one of the processes that I do to open a woman. It opens the energy from the cervix all the way up through each one of the chakras. And if the woman opens her throat and lets the sound that wants to come out, it jumps from the throat to the third eye and out the crown. So strong until she'll reach up and grab her head because it feels like it's gonna come out.
I watched some videos.
You know. So part of that is due to the fact that the woman is so jammed up in the whole throat arena.
Oh yeah.
So
when a
part of that the orgasm in the throat, there are two little holes right in front of the tonsils in the back of the mouth. When the woman starts to have energy arise from her breast and up into the back of her mouth, and when she starts to go into orgasm in that area, she starts to have secretion after a while from these two little holes.
That's what we want to get into. Go ahead, keep going.
So that starts to come naturally as a result. How I first realized it, I was watching one of the educational channels on TV.
Yes.
And they had mammals on there that were copulating and having sex, and the females will be having this nectar coming out of their mouths, and the male will actually get down come around to the front, drinking it, and then go back and remount her.
Wow.
So I was sitting there and I'm looking at this and I go, well, now we mammals too.
That's right.
Did we never have this, or did we get it swivelized out of us by being totally taken into the whole European way of looking at everything, until the point that we just gave up what was natural?
That's right.
So with that question, I went all the way in.
All the way in.
All the way in.
Does this mean you drink from the nectar?
I've drunk from the nectar. I know what it does. I'm like 65 years old in a couple of more days. And I give a young blood run for his money.
I dig that.
Probably.
Yeah, that's why I keep my gun on my hip for your ass. Shit, I'm a believer. I ain't one of these fools out there.
So,
go ahead.
Most people have never really heard of the term ormus.
Yeah.
Are you hip to ormus?
No.
Ormus is the same thing as the ojas.
Gotcha.
But this is all throughout the woman. The woman makes
food for the
pure
gods.
Food for the gods.
That's right.
Exactly. So the woman makes it naturally.
Wow.
And that's what you see, like on the video I showed you, that's what you see.
Yeah, it's coming out.
The mouth.
Yeah.
Is the ormus.
Yeah,
and that is so potent until people are making tons of money on this planet right now selling ormus that they make from vegetation. It's a very expensive substance. I get it from Australia in like pint bottles, and it's white like that.
Yeah.
Because the ormus itself, they sometimes call it white gold, or the philosopher's stone, and all these different terms, liquid gold, and all these terms. Where the substance itself, when it's produced, it gets so light until if you open a container where you got powdered ormus,
yes,
it'll float up out of the container.
That's true.
It'll float right up out of the container. And it's the same thing if you, when the woman is having this producing it, it's that kind of float, it has that kind of floaty type energetics to it. If you were to dry it, it would be just the same as the ormus that's made from vegetation. Extremely potent for the man. That along with the white snow, which is the milk that comes from a woman that is in no way pregnant. A lot of the women have never ever been pregnant.
That's right.
But they have this milk. It's highly revered in Tibet. They classify it as one of the most potent substances that a man can take in, both spiritually, energetically, and physically.
That would really make our brothers embrace the woman more so. They knew that
but see, the brothers, the reason why the brothers in the community are, rather than almost getting younger, they deteriorate at an early age, mainly because they're coming to the woman with this
misogynistic type.
Exactly, this superior thing. And so as a result, what happens is they come to her and they keep giving her give the woman their seed every time. And then they tired, they fall asleep right after sex.
That's right.
The reason being, they never suspected that the woman actually had something to give them in return.
Wow.
They never received it. Because the male would have to stop sending energy at the woman and relax and fall back and let her take him at the heart. So then the energy hot energy that he's put into her, she's to draw that up and let it push the cool energy that she's accumulated in her heart out of her heart into his heart.
So is it safe to surmise that some women possibly inadvertently might be vampires on an energy scale?
Well, the truth of the matter is that they never feel their worth and their value because nobody ever stood still long enough to receive what they brought to the planet. So now, if they never understand or experience their own value, I would hesitate to call it vampirism. What I would say is that she's attempting in some way to feel herself as a valuable person.
Wow.
And so if she can never give, then she gets confused. And she thinks that she's suffering and in pain inside because she never receives enough.
Wow.
So then she starts pulling for more and more to try to fill this empty hole. But the truth of the matter is there's no hole there. She's just experiencing what happens inside of her when she never gets to give what she brought to the planet that's of value.
Wow.
It makes her a beggar.
Mm.
She becomes a beggar then. Now she's pulling at you to try to fill a hole that's already full.
Mm.
It just needs to be shared.
We need this information.
It needs to be shared.
This information needs to be shared.
Exactly.
I think we gave them a mouthful. I mean, it's just pouring out of him, man. It's pouring out of him.
So, yeah.
Our wise elders, man. We haven't seen them in quite some time. Where you been, man? I've been in Brownsville. I ain't seen you, man. Yeah, I'm from Brooklyn, man. Brooklyn, New York. We've been looking for you for quite some time. You know, the young brothers would have sat at your feet.
Yeah.
And learn as I learn. You know, I teach and do what I do. And I don't have a problem at all. Be humble and say I have much to learn from my brother right here, my wise elder. And I'm looking forward to him coming out. What do you say for the people that are naysayers? They may speculate.
They all, you know.
Are you willing to
They all naysayers.
Are you willing to do live demonstrations on the 17th in front of people? On the 17th.
I have no problem with that.
Live
I've
demonstrations.
gone all around the world doing it.
Okay, where have you been around the world doing this?
I go to Australia, I go to the UK, I've gone to New Zealand, I've gone to...
He's heavy, you gotta check him out.
Yeah, I've gone to a number of places. Half the time, I'm so in it. When I'm there, I forget where I'm at.
And you at a point where you doing it from a distance
And
now.
I'm at a point where I'm doing it from
Just transcended the whole...
So, I've done stuff in Taiwan, you know.
So New York is going to be blessed when you come. Have you ever came to New York and did a...
No.
Wow, out of all those places in the world.
You know
And
how
New York needs it. People sexually
never
crazy.
believed in his own country.
You already know. I know. You get all the love and embrace elsewhere.
Elsewhere.
Yeah, so...
I go somewhere else and it's like an entourage comes in.
Yeah, I hear that. You
I
have
come
it.
here and I walk down the street and I try to speak to somebody.
Who's this
and
nigga over here?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, this
They
nigga.
come off like that.
Yeah, don't touch my woman, nigga. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, New York needs it because they sexually crazed in New York and sexually undisciplined.
But have no understanding of what it is they even attempt to do.
That's right. I think this would be a blessing in disguise in some sort. And long overdue because we have a lot of people that engage in deliberation about these practices and sciences, but never really the execution.
Yeah.
You know, we have a lot of people that...
I've seen a lot of the
articulate.
videos and stuff that come out of New York.
Yeah.
And I can tell talking that, yeah, you've heard about the science.
That's right.
But I can look at you and tell
That
you don't know the science.
Yeah, the execution.
Yeah, it's a whole nother thing.
So, I mean, listen, if you doubt, bring your wife. If you doubt, bring a good friend of yours and have them get on that table and let them reveal to you what it is. Because I'm telling you, it's for real, it's serious. We have a lot to learn. And it's a blessing to me. One of the most important things to me. As y'all know, I'm not into that whole hate of the racist paradigm. But what I will tell you is this. I'm always elated and happy and very proud to see someone that is obviously Nubian, someone that's obviously melaninated, putting this kind of information forth. It means a lot to me because he's a real superhero. We read about stuff in magazines and comic books and everything, but it really exists. Or as y'all would say, avatars or human gods, or however you would like to articulate it.
They're just showing you what you're capable of.
Exactly. And he's the truth, man. I'm like, he's the truth. I bear witness, this brother is the truth, and this information needs to be shared because I believe if we develop ourselves under a higher scale of sexual orientation,
And
it would diffuse a lot of the problems in our community.
And one of the things that's so deep is that this would be really kind of like the first time of me coming into the black neighborhood.
I understand.
And speaking. Because the superstition, the paranoia
That's right.
is so deep until I had to go somewhere else
I
to
understand.
develop everything. And I said I wouldn't come back to the black community until I could throw down to the point that an individual had to go, did I see what I just saw?
That's right.
Because if you come into the black neighborhood talking,
Oh yeah, you already know.
you don't get no respect.
That's right.
You
And
know?
that's one good, that's the pro and the con
Yeah.
of the black community.
Yeah.
Super speculative, you know, to the point that we are very super critical of our own. And that's unfair. We're very super critical of our own, almost as if we don't really have the right to present anything to you. But I know because, hey, I came out here, I was out in Cali for about a month now, and it hurts me when I do classes that, when I come to Cali, a lot of times when I did some Sacramento, when I come out here to Cali, a lot of times half the room is Chinese, Hindu, and Caucasian,
Yeah, exactly.
and then black.
Exactly.
And, you know, I'll get condemned for this. You know what I'm saying?
But they come because they know you giving up the 411.
Yeah, and the brothers and sisters live around the corner, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they
not coming.
peeping around there to see who I was going in.
It hurts. And then, you know, our brothers and sisters would say that I'm a sellout. And I'm like, you don't understand the global economy. I'm giving you services and goods. In order for us to thrive as a people,
somebody that won't.
you can't tailor make your products to cater exclusively to a race and think you're going to become a world
Especially
power.
if that race don't even want it.
Exactly. And it
That's-
hurts. man.
yeah,
So,
it does.
I know what you're saying.
And the other part of it is the black woman is one of the most powerful
Say it
women
again,
on
man.
this planet.
Say it again.
But
They think
how
it's a
you
joke,
gonna
man.
be afraid of your own energy and ever come to know your power?
That's right.
If the black woman comes into understanding her power, we can work less.
That's right.
We don't have to be slaves to nobody else because we can use that power and use the whole understanding of sexuality to manifest almost instantaneously whatever you want.
It's funny, that's what I'm going to be going into that day when we pair up, because that's the construct of polygyny. Because a lot of people are just so off route when they see my wives and I, they kind of lose focus.
Yeah.
And they think it's orientated or predicated upon just sex. And I'm like, you know, I'm having less of what they call that kind of sex. I'm having less sex than the average bachelor. I'm like, you know, because of the work ethic and the way I transmute the energy and what I do with the energy.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very motivational energy, and it helps make things manifest.
Exactly.
You know, so you either manifest or man-infest station. So you're going to get one or the other. Either going to be destructive or productive.
Yeah.
But we're going to definitely go into that, because these are the things that made all the brothers in the scriptures that you read about, it made them very successful. Even Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad or Dr. York, these are people that always had women around them.
Yeah.
We ain't never seen a leader that didn't have an appeal to have the movement mobilized, and it always had its inception in the support of black women. There's a correspondence with the support of black women and prominent leadership in the community, or even biblical scriptures, whatever. You always see that those brothers who's doing what they do, they always have tremendous support on behalf of the females. And whenever you turn on the females of a nation, you could kiss the nation goodbye. There is no nation when you have a gender-specific war taking place amongst the men and the women.
Yeah.
So
And that's what's going on.
yeah, man, we in conflict with each other like crazy. When you put it together, it's something promising and very progressive. So we want to address those issues in our community on the 17th. We're going to have the proficiency exams early on during the day. Of course, the day before, we're going to be conducting initiations for NCSD and NCPO, New Covenant, Peacock Order, and New Covenant Special Defense for the brothers whose symbol is the Phoenix. Phoenix denoting resurrection, Peacock denoting renewal. Each one of the members, the male order, focal point is on the female, as far as the phoenix is concerned, to resurrect the goddess energy. And of course, he's our wise elder, going to be conducting a lot of the rites of passage for the brothers in that particular field. Of course, you know, we deal with the law and the real estate and everything like that as well. And then for the New Covenant Peacock order, their symbol is a male peacock. As you know, the male peacock is the most colorful.
Yeah.
Peacocks are very interesting beings, even the way they're polygynous and how they pick their mates, and when they allow their mates to have more than one wife, and when they don't. They're a very interesting species, and we use the characteristics of these animals to remind us of how to maintain our poise, or remind us of the type of disposition we should have. But they represent renewal, and the women focus on the male and the men focus on the female. So idealistically, everyone is cultivating their own being so they could better be able to serve the opposite gender. So these groups do not become chauvinistic or feminist groups. In fact, their focal point is become better so they could be a better service to the other gender. That's the ideology, that's the construct we're dealing with. And each one of the males and the females have running concurrent administrative obligations as well as security obligations. So they run concurrent. So there's a security element and then there's an administrative element. They run concurrent. Space cells and time cells. The women are known as time cells, the men are known as space cells. It's intense, but those people coming for the initiations, that's going to be on the 16th, which is the Saturday, and we'll update y'all on the upcoming initiations. And then on the 17th, we have a tremendous blessing, a wealth of information. We have some very interesting brothers and sisters from the community for the initiation's sake, because you do know we have a lot of very successful blacks, as you would call it, or Nubians or melanated people. So our brothers and sisters can confide in them after the initiation. They always give good pointers to the brothers and sisters that are aspiring. As you know, we have a lot of good brothers and sisters who are doing real good, and they have a tremendous amount of advice that they can offer to really help us navigate in this world, to diffuse the false past of what this world has to offer us. So on the 17th, again, we're going to also be working on a book together, and that's going to be released that date, and it's going to be beautiful, so you can go and pick your mind with it, but for applicable purposes, never to just mentally masturbate and sound deep to somebody else, but in hopes that you bring the information home, literally, and repair your condition. Because when we start engaging in a sexual / spiritual experience the right way, I'm pretty sure that we will diffuse most of the detrimental aspects or elements in our community. A lot of this is sexual frustration, and lack of discipline. And you can see it every day as the brothers are out there on the street. If you live in New York, so many beautiful women walking by, and the women are after the women now, and the men are frustrated.
Exactly.
They was frustrated prior, but now they definitely frustrated now. So there's a lot of confusion going on, and this is going to change everything. And this is not a once in a lifetime lecture, but you don't get these kind of lectures, especially when there's an application element. People come there and get that experience. Don't be embarrassed. You know, you might have patches of hair missing after you get your orgasm and going crazy on the table, but do what you gotta do, man. Do what you gotta do. Come there and know that this is true. I know many of you are doubters. We want the doubters to come into the building, because this brother is the truth. And if every other race, if the Asians and the Hindus and the Caucasians can embrace him, please allow my brother to come home and give it to us. Please let him come home and bring this information to us. We need this by now. I'm tired of looking up to other races. Though I embrace anybody who has truth. Truth is not beholden to any one race exclusively. That's how I feel. However, when it comes from a black man, I'm on deck and I'm biased as shit. So I need it from him. I'm excited. I can't wait till y'all get this information. So we're going to sign out. Is there anything else you would like to share with the brothers and sisters here? Because they're going to eat this up on YouTube, man. You gave us a wealth of information. And we're going to follow it up, have them on radio interviews up until the event. New York deserves this, man. The brothers and sisters there, we need this. I'm tired of the people talking. And we need an elder finally, man, to really step up to the plate. We're missing the elders in the community. They had a more prominent role back in the days when I was an infant, probably not even born, but there's not too much elders out there no more. And those that are out
they die out before they even become elders.
That's right. And they battling the youth instead of
right.
guiding the youth. They over there fighting for position with the youth.
Right.
I'm like, this is nuts. So, you know.
You let the youth run. You just kind of
We out there, man.
get the help guide. That's
Completely out there, man. Everybody has a teacher, man.
Right.
But the youth today, they're teaching and they appoint themselves to the teachers, and teachers didn't kind of put them under the wing, you know?
Yeah.
So we need you. We need you on so many different levels aside from the information you're going to teach that day. We just need the image of a wise elder black man with the swag of a 20-year-old. You know what I'm saying? Because he definitely got 20-year-old swag, man. Don't play around, man. He will give you a run for your money. He wasn't joking. We need that because, and the reason why I'm saying that on this note is because when I was younger, I was afraid to get older because I've seen the elders around me and I was like, I never want to become like that. So it kind of made me grimace the reality of getting older. So in turn, I was behaving like an adolescent in an older age. You know, I'm in my 20s and I'm acting like I'm in my early adolescence.
But see, they've gone out of their way to bring it to the point where men never grow up now.
That's what's going on. That's real.
You know, they got them playing video games.
Don't go too hard on that. We're gonna have to
they take them out into 40, 50 years old now, you know? Like, just...
That's right. They rapping about some drugs.
Yeah, exactly.
Saying weird things and slang.
But then they missing all of everything that these folks is using to control the planet.
That's right.
That's right. You can't do all that all the time. And nothing, especially avoiding everything else and just doing that. If you do it, you know, as a recreational thing when you want to chill out, fine. But if that's all you do,
that's right.
You know, no.
There's a question though. Because you can deliver multiple orgasms without touching a woman, do you still acquire the sensation to physically copulate with a female?
I still do that, yes. Because the woman is interesting in the fact that even after she's had an orgasm, she loves to feel things grounded into reality for her, and how she does that is through her physical body. So if she can experience that, that just opens her. And then you can go in and do the deeper work.
I did. The deeper work. I like how you talk.
You know, with her. And she's more open and more receptive at that point.
Man, if my father was teaching this type of stuff, man, I might have been the Yakuba of the sex world. I might have been going nuts. Anyway, maybe it was best I never learned this stuff earlier. But I know it now. But yeah, that's why I had to carry y'all. But
you okay?
Let's get out of here. So we're gonna sign off. But yes, when we have these kind of elders in our community, you know, you see those years and you say, man, I'm looking forward to approaching those years, not running from it.
Yeah.
And that's a different feeling, and that's a feeling that I get when I'm around y'all. You know, when I get around y'all, I'm looking forward to it. I'm like, yo, I would like to be like that to the youth. I would hope they look at me the same way and say, and look at the hair and say, well, obviously you have something to offer because, you know, gray hair is supposed to denote a level of wisdom. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, now it's just kind of, it normally denotes a Heineken in the fridge. And, you know what I'm saying? So it's a beautiful thing when I see y'all. I'm like, yo, I sit at y'all feet and say that I can actually trust y'all discretion. I actually trust you. You give me advice, I actually trust you and I take it home. You know, and I'll be 30, I'll be 40.
I've gone out of my way to live my life in such a way that it's an example rather than a stumbling block.
Word.
So
that's powerful. That's powerful.
The moment that I saw, I was in the streets, deep in them, major drug dealer, you know. But at the point that I saw that it was destroying everybody, I said no. And dudes would run up to me because they knew I was a drug dealer. Man, I'm getting high now. You know, I'm like, and you're telling me that because you think you're catching up to me. I'm no longer there.
That's right.
You got to get on up some more in order to keep up with me.
That's right.
I've already let that go. That's for children.
That's right.
You know, that's for children. Now it's a whole nother thing that I'm on about. And it may take you 40 years to catch up to that. Because, you know, I don't do the alcohol. I don't do it. Because I know how to do things to make things move across the world from where I'm sitting.
Unbelievable statement.
So why would I be tying my energy up with that?
You need to get out there on the 17th of March on Saturday. Meet this man in person. You'll feel the energy in person. It's a gift. It's a blessing. I just can't wait, man. I'm fiending. Mark your calendars. Take off of work. It won't be a waste of your time.
It's time to stop playing. Learn the language, homie. Tour. Yeah, Hanuki hen has a new big net the water out to rain. Okay, keep until Taprifoni, Pare, Jadu Sanu, Nena Home, Hatu, so a hazy, he a gate a door, Yakutanka lose near we or Ripra for rap. While the young guy can't we only support, put them Sanu, Chiati, only Kapor, Haji Pare, dear we Uri Hardor, Kalonza Ulia, Kiati, only beat my glory. Are you back now? Roll back, huh? Kiali, Usi da Poor, Miati, Udina Zor, Waka Romano, Kiati, Urbicator, Rakusgano, Muguari, Ugi, Musora, Wan Kalapa, Kiati, Ubi Pandor, Warwa, Filo, Happy, Ugi the Tor, until Tapriku, he has in a war, Vamos, Jenny, Rifasora, how deep the ass is, Unisakor, Sofa, Fagon, Azum, Japor. Until Taprifuni, Haren, Hiaki, Jatu Sanu, until Taprifuni, Haren, Hiaki, Jatu Sanu, Reagi Uti Kamo, to the sofa, Fiaki Uti Amul, but what was sofa guy, Tiari Uti Rahu, Hazi, Waku, Nia Kiawi, Unimasu, Nawara Tasawing, Yai, Urimatu, Mosi Usumisa, where I see Ukialu, Anisa Kalwa, Ki, Ayi Jamu, Tuzayu, Tuziaki, Uli Bamu, Gaguni has a Hiagi Link Batu, Antujaku, Hiari Ukichipu, Nushabu, Hazi Kiuli, Aku, Tasari, the Liasa, we Unizi, Sabur, Hazakanum Park, Yabi, Urisaju, Hazi Wagulia, Biaki, Uribahu, Carlos, Uyaji, Ukini, Bamazu, Kiza, until Diary, Ubi Griju, until Tabrifuni, Warren, Hiaki, Jatu Sanu, Never water to rain, Hiaki, Sanjia, put your back knee,